Good morning, folks, and welcome to Wishwell Farms. I'm currently out here in my barn on a Saturday morning, and I gotta admit, I'm having a little trouble getting motivated to tackle some of these projects I need to get working on. Seems like the list keeps growing longer and longer every day, and the 2025 vegetable growing and marketing season is quickly approaching. So I remember back in college, 25, 30 years ago, I wrote a paper called Positive Procrastination, and I feel like even to this day, I sometimes still practice positive procrastination. I put things off that I should be getting done right now, and then it comes down to the wire of needing to get it done, and I go out and crank it out, get it done, and everything works out okay. So how about we walk around the barn together, and I'll show you some of these projects that I need to get started on, and I also need some advice from you fine folks on one little issue I am dealing with here in my barn. So one of the things we're working on currently around the farm is making sure we have all of our employees hired and ready to go for the 2025 season. I think I have just a handful of people returning from last year, and we've hired one new person so far, and I think we've received 12 new applications just this past week. So we're starting to line up interviews, and we do them in our farm market here. I have one coming out around lunchtime today, so I'm just going to show you real quick how we do our interviews here at Wishwell Farms. So normally this little table right here is over here where we've displayed some of our produce, but I'm currently using this area to film some of my videos. And it is very heavy, so we're going to leave it there. So I just brought in one of our market tables. I got a chair for my daughter and I to sit here, and this is where we will have our applicants sit for a short interview. So when I receive an application, I email them back and give them our address. We set up a time, and I have them park right here in front of the market, and I will meet them out here, have them take a seat right here. My daughter Natalie will be out here with me, ready and waiting. And I have a long list of interview questions that I put together many, many years ago. I used to spend a lot more time asking these potential employees lots and lots of questions, but I've kind of whittled that down to just like 5 or 10 questions. I just want to get to know them a little bit, learn a little bit about their past work experience, whether they know what they're getting into, wanting to work here at Wishwell Farms, and usually within 10 minutes we're wrapping it up and they're on their way, and we will let them know through email, phone call, or text, whatever they prefer, whether they have the job or not, usually within a week. Now there are cases where we have a great interview, and I know for a fact that I want this person working for us, and I will hire them on the spot. But most of the time, we get back with them within a week to let them know whether they're hired or not. So they have plenty of time to look for another summer job. I think last year I made a video titled "My Least Favorite Job on the Farm" because I despise doing interviews. It used to not bother me when I was younger, but now that I've been doing this for 25, 30 years, yeah, I don't really enjoy it for some reason. So I wish I could delegate that job to someone else. That's why I have my daughter helping me. I'm hoping she can completely take that over here in a couple years, so I don't even have to mess with it. I'd rather be doing other things on the farm. So a few days ago, I dug into this order I received from Martin's Produce in Pennsylvania. I think they're out near Lancaster, Allentown, Pennsylvania, somewhere over there on the east side of the state in produce country. So that's where I get all of my drip tape and my plastic mulch. And some other things that came on that order were some picking baskets, some more 1 3/4 bushel corn tubs, some tomato twine, some drip irrigation fittings. This is a little cheap hand pump for pumping my sulfuric acid out of the barrel for bringing the pH down for my hydroponic tomatoes. A couple stacks of oval tube here, and this is a 130-foot hose. So the reason I ordered a new hose is because I want to run it across the top of my barn down to my vegetable washer. I normally pull out a garden hose from my spigot over here by my fuel tanks about 100 feet and attach it to my vegetable washer down here. I'll go show you that here in a second. I can't leave it hooked up all the time. I'm always disconnecting it because I need the hose for something else. I probably should run some PVC lines up in my barn and down to the washer and just kind of hardwire it in, so to speak. But I bought this hose. I think that'll work just fine, and I can use it for other things as well when it's wintertime. All right, let's take a quick look at my vegetable washer down here. And one of the problems I'm going to show you down here is what I need some advice about. So this is our vegetable washer. What a mess. That's going to take some serious power washing. And do you hear something up there? Hear that? I need to put a stop to these birds. They are roosting up here everywhere, and it's worse than ever. So what I think I'm going to do, instead of putting netting up, bird netting all up in my barn, I'm going to try a couple things that may be a little simpler first to see if that works. So what do you guys think about putting fishing line? Maybe strands of fishing line across my rafters. I'm not sure which direction yet. Maybe every 3 to 5 feet, I'm going to run a string of fishing line across my rafters. And I'm hoping that will deter the birds. And I think it will, because above the swimming pool at my condo down in Sarasota, Florida, where I've been gone since I was like 8 years old, every winter for a week, they have, it looks like string, like fishing line. It's probably a really heavy duty fishing line above the pool, and that deters all the birds. Sparrows still come in and land on the pavers, but birds will not fly in where those fishing line are above the pool. So that idea made me think that that will work here in this barn. What do you guys think? Or should I maybe place an owl or a hawk up in here, or on top of the barn outside? Maybe that would help. And I've even read that snakes, fake rubber snakes hanging in the rafters would work. But I have a feeling that birds are going to get used to seeing a fake owl, a fake hawk, or a fake snake. So if the fishing line thing doesn't work, I'll probably end up putting some actual real bird netting up there just to make it impossible for them to come and roost in my barn above my vegetable washer. I mean, just look at this. This is terrible. There's no way I could send produce through here until this is all power washed and cleaned up. And then once I do clean it up, you know, I don't want to have to be fighting these birds all summer long. So any suggestions or advice you may have on keeping birds out of my barn, please let me know down in the comment section. So up above my tomato boxes, I have most of my supplies ready to go. I didn't film this the other day, but I offloaded a skid that was delivered here recently. That is clear quart containers. That's how we display all of our tomatoes and green beans. Those are pint containers over there for our grape tomatoes. So here's what the quart containers look like. So we display all of our green beans and small tomatoes in quart containers. And right here we have our pints, clear plastic pints. And this is what we display our grape tomatoes in at farmers markets. These are flats for our grape tomatoes. I don't grow any berries, even though some of them say berries on them. We just use those for our grape tomatoes. These are 10-pound tomato flats where we pack all of our tomatoes. And they were piled up everywhere in here. So Emma and I went through them and we stacked 2 skids worth here in the tomato cooler. So we have a skid here ready to go and another partial skid here. Here's all this year's seed. I made another video about this earlier. All of our sweet corn seed for the entire season, all of our green bean seed, and some leftover green beans and sweet corn here. As you can see here, I have all of our wheelbarrows lined up that I need to go through and make sure there's no flat tires or loose bolts, so they're ready to go. And as many of you have probably seen at big box stores like Lowe's or Home Depot, wheelbarrows are not cheap these days. I think I bought a lot of these for $49 and $59, and now they're like over $100. So got to take care of my wheelbarrows. We use those for harvesting zucchini and cucumbers and things like that out in our fields, and for harvesting our hydroponic greenhouse tomatoes. Here's a couple of our older farmers market tents, and you know, they start getting rips in them and tears. You know, look, these poles aren't supposed to be coming through the center of the tent. So I'm either gonna have to repair those, put some new tops on them, or just buy new tents. But that's something that comes along with doing farmers markets. You know, we got 5 box trucks out there, and there is 2 to 3 tents in every box truck. So we'll have to get all those tents out and make sure they are good to go for the season. I'll usually put that off until early May and just make sure it's all done a few weeks before market season starts, which is Memorial Weekend for us. This bay in the barn seems to accumulate piles and piles of stuff. So I need to get all this cleaned out because I want to be able to put watermelons and cantaloupes and things like that in this bay. Maybe even store the Ranger there. Now when it comes to all of our corn tubs over here, I don't really have to wash them. They'll be a little bit dusty, but that's all. Once we use them once or twice, the dust is gone. Now these, we will have to power wash. These are some of our display containers. And we got some more back here too. These black ones, you can see how dirty and dusty they get. Those will all have to be power washed. So that's a fun job. Just a lot of cleaning and organizing things around here, throwing some stuff away. Employees from the past leave a lot of clothing around our farm, so we need to go through some of that. And right there is some of our rain gear for sweet corn picking. Just a lot of stuff gets accumulated and piled up during the winter time that we need to move around, get rid of, and put in different places. And another thing I need to work on is getting our coolers cleaned up. This is our main cooler. You can see I got some like mold growing on these rubber flaps, and it's hard to get off. I think I'm going to take them off and power wash them because these things are expensive. Got a lot of things in our cooler that needs thrown out, organized, and put away, so it's ready to go. And I have a leak up on my roof somewhere that I need to figure out where it's at because we're getting water coming down and it's creating rotten spots on our ceiling, and we need to get that taken care of before that gets any worse. And I probably should go ahead and paint the ceiling and the walls once we get that leak taken care of. So in a prior video, I talked about my brand new finger pickup units for planting sweet corn with my John Deere 7000. I'm gonna take those back to where I bought them in New Carlisle to Skillings to throw them on their calibration machine to check the singulation using my sweet corn seed. So they have a brush setting on here that's adjustable 1 through 5, depending on how big your seed is. So I've always kind of just guessed at where that setting needs to be. I want to know where it needs to be exactly. So we're going to take these down to where I bought them with a bag of my seed, throw them on the machine, and simulate about a 5 mile an hour planting speed. And we're going to find out which brush setting is best to pick up one seed. We don't want doubles and we don't want skips. So I'm going to take you guys along with me to show you that process on one of the next videos coming up here soon. Another project that I've talked about several times in the past is how I need to get the poly changed on the little house out here. There's 2 layers on there. It's just windy every day. So I'm having trouble getting that done, and we need to get it done soon because my plants are ready to be transplanted in there. So if we don't get it done in time, I'm gonna go ahead and plant, but it sure would be nice to change the plastic before we bring the plants out and get them planted. This greenhouse was changed on that side. It has 2 pieces. The west side was changed 2 years ago, and the east side still needs changed. So over here on this side, that is old plastic. It's on year number 7, I believe. There is a couple holes in it. It looks like it's staying inflated pretty good right now, but it's time to get it changed. And you can see the face of the greenhouse looks deflated and flat and kind of flapping in the wind. There's so many little nicks and tears in it, I can't get it to hold air, even though it's only been there for a couple years. I plan to put polycarbonate on the face of that greenhouse next year. So hopefully I can get one more season out of that before putting the polycarbonate on. This greenhouse needs changed. It's on year 7, I believe. And it is peppered with holes and rips and tears. This greenhouse got hailed on a couple years ago, and it has never stayed tight, inflated with air properly since then. So there's a lot of nicks and rips and tears on that plastic, and it needs changed out. Hopefully here in the next couple weeks, we'll get that done as well. You probably noticed all this standing water down here. We had severe thunderstorms last night. I don't currently have my rain gauge out, so I don't know how much we got, but it looks like 2 to 3 inches, I'm guessing. When I see ruts in my driveway, it usually means we had a pretty heavy downpour of several inches. So I'm gonna have to bring my tractor over and fix that. Luckily, it's not too bad right here. I kind of have a swale made to get rid of the rain. But let me show you another project that didn't get done last fall. See this mess down here? Oh my, look at this. That's how bad our rain was, holy moly. So I'm gonna get my backhoe over here, build a proper swale, put some stone back in there, maybe some big 4s or 2s or something, And these piles of dirt down here, they need smoothed out, and a load of stone over this area here. I had to dig up my well pit last year because I had a leak in one of the valves underground about 3 foot deep, and I just never fixed everything after I had repaired that. So I hate the way this looks. It's like probably one of the biggest eyesores on our farm, so my wife will really appreciate it if I get this all fixed and cleaned up. This is my brother's front yard. That shows you how much rain we got last night. Gee whiz. Picked me up some sprayer parts at the fertilizer dealer supply last week, and we got some work to do on my sprayers and my corn planter. Let me show you what I got. All right, some of these parts are for my corn planter. I'll set those aside. I got a few new drops for my sprayer. Another part for my corn planter. These are nozzle bodies, 3-way nozzle bodies for my sprayer. And a bag of little rubber gaskets for these little nozzle fittings, T-jet fittings that go inside there. A shut-off valve for one of my other sprayers. So I got 2 sprayers. Hose clamps, some more of these little T-jet nozzle things, and just some random O-rings that I needed for my sprayer. Another part for my planter. All right, let's go down and take a look at my sprayer. I'm going to show you what this part is for. It's actually to repair this piece, and it's a very important piece. Back down here at the other farm, this was our original dairy, and it's where we housed our dry cows that were not in production. So another thing on the project list is to get both those trailers out, cleaned up, fixed up, ready to go. Maintenance the beam picker. Fortunately, all of that doesn't need done right away. We got plenty of time to get that done, but it's just one of the things on my massive list of projects. So over here are my 2 sprayers. This is my herbicide sprayer, and there's not much to do on it. I just have a broken nozzle body that I need to replace here on the end that goes out here. I think it's a 40-foot boom. I always forget if it's 30 or 40. I think it's 40. All right, so this is the sprayer that I use for spraying insecticides and fungicides because it's a high pressure sprayer. It's got a high pressure John Blue pump on here, and I put my spray out at least 175 to 200 PSI. And I want to show you a part back here that I've broken several times in the past. So this is a single side boom sprayer. It just has one boom that folds out and it's on one side. This is what I use to spray over the top of my sweet corn. So you can see here, it's an adjustable boom. It's manual, it's not automatic, but I can put that boom all the way up here to almost 8 foot high, at least 7.5 feet high, to get over the top of sweet corn. Usually I'm about right here, you know, like 6 or 7 feet is usually tall enough. And this is to spray insecticides on the silks of our sweet corn to prevent worms being in our corn, mainly for the late season corn. But on the end of this boom is this funny looking nozzle here. These are all cone nozzles that spray a high pressure mist down into your crop canopy. But this last one kind of sprays out at an angle to get the final 2 rows on a block of 12 rows of sweet corn. And underneath, the little valve is broken right there. So I always got to hop off and turn that little thing with a pair of pliers. So this is what it looks like. It's the same piece. It goes right there. This is just an extra one I have that is also broken. I've probably hit tree branches or fence posts or smacked into the ground or something. So this is a new piece. It's going to go right here. That's a lot more heavy duty. Hopefully that won't break as easy. After all this rain we've gotten, I bet those would be a blast to take down the river. It's going to be a little dark in here. Hopefully you can see everything. This is our Case Magnum 215 that we use for planting all of our corn and beans on our grain operation, pulling our Kinsey 3600 12-row planter. And my brother has been busy in here for a couple weeks getting it all ready to go. I think he replaced most of the closing wheels and all of the double disc openers, but I think he has that ready to go for planting about 900 acres of soybeans and 400 acres of field corn. All right, I got my John Deere 3020. It's pretty much ready to go. Just need to change the oil. And this is my corn planter, my 7000. And I talked about this already, but I'm replumbing some of the things on here. I'm gonna be swapping out that valve for this one here because I'm not gonna be using these blue style of lines anymore. I'm removing all of that. So that'll go here. Then we'll have an inline filter right here. A new length of hose to get across the planter. And then we're gonna tap in to the original line. It goes right there. So I'm gonna put all that back together and we're gonna tee into it right here. And it'll have 2 tanks of starter fertilizer instead of just 1 starter fertilizer and 1 28% nitrogen. It'll all be pumped on with this little electric pump to this little manifold system back here. And then it gets dribbled right on top of the seed furrow on each of the 4 units. And as you can see right here, I have one of the planting units completely dismantled. This is where the closing discs go. And then right here is a little seed tube protector that I'm replacing. They're getting a little worn out. And then my closing wheels go right there. So this is what it's supposed to look like. Set of closing wheels, double disc openers, and then I'm not sure if you're gonna be able to see this. Right there is the seed tube protector. And when they get too skinny, the seed tube's gonna get rubbed by the double disc openers and it's gonna wear it out, put holes in it. I'll show you what they look like. So this is the seed tube protector. I'm not sure what the name of it is, but they get too skinny at this end. It's supposed to be a little wider at this end. So I'm gonna replace all 4 of those because if you don't, the double disc openers are gonna rub the seed tubes and wear them out. See how there's a little piece of it missing down there? And it's just, you can tell it's been getting rubbed by the double disc openers. So I got a new set of seed tubes to put in, but I don't want to put those in until I replace these little seed tube protectors. I decided to go ahead and install some of this new stuff right now. It's almost lunchtime. If I can knock this out right now before I get into an interview this afternoon, that'll be good. So I got the T installed, pretty simple. Got my inline filter back in place, got it connected to the pump, and over here, that hose will attach into there. But first I gotta put on this new shutoff valve, and I can't screw it into place until I drain this 28%. It looks like I got 25 gallons in there, so I'll pump that back into my tank, and then we'll be able to install the shutoff valve and the inline filter. Well, I'm back over here at my place. Got the cab up on one of my Isuzu box trucks that we use for our farmers markets. This one has a little bit of an issue. It's not an emergency, but it's something I got to get fixed here in the next month. So if you look real close right there, it's kind of wet and oily. So my mechanic told me it's either the upper or the lower valve cover gasket. And there's also little rubber O-rings under each one of those bolts. So we got all that ordered and hopefully should be here soon and we can get this taken care of. I realized today was a lot of talking and not a lot of doing. I've been feeling just a little bit under the weather today, and it's just been hard for me to get motivated to get a lot done on this lazy Saturday morning. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. But hopefully we'll be hitting it hard again on Monday morning and accomplishing all kinds of things around the farm as we are quickly approaching the 2025 growing and marketing season here at Wishwell Farms. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you all again next time down on the farm.